there, how's it going? Adam Warner with If I Gotta Get Up. So, unless you've been stuck under a rock for the past year and a half, or more, really, you are well aware that our current entertainment society, so to speak, is absolutely knee-deep in superheroes. In fact, my previous review about Supergirl, which you need to go check out, is just one of the many shows that are on right now, shows and movies regarding superheroes. Between Marvel and DC, they are just blowing up your TV screen, the silver screen, your computer screen. Every screen is covered in superheroes. From Marvel's The Avengers on the big screen to Thor, Captain America, Spider-Man. On the TV, you got Supergirl, you got Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Constantine was out recently, but now he's kind of doing some crossover action with Green Arrow. There's also The Flash. There are so many. There's just an absolute plethora of superhero-related programming for you to watch. The one that I'd like to talk about today is actually the Fantastic Four, which came out not too long ago. So, first and foremost, okay, here's my thing. I was apprehensive about this from the get-go, purely because it's reboot, a reimagining, a retelling, recreation, whatever you want to call it. It has almost nothing at all to do with the original Fantastic Four storyline, really anything to do with it. The only things that they really kind of kept in with the continuity is obviously the character names and their powers. That's about it. You know, everybody in the show is really, really young. Anyways, let me kind of give you up to speed of what exactly happens. So, in this version of the Fantastic Four, there are these four individuals, obviously. Reed Richards is a young genius, played by Miles Teller. He becomes very, very good friends with Ben Grimm, which is, you know, continuous with the original story. They're obviously good friends from the beginning. But Ben Grimm is played by Jamie Bell. Jamie Bell really doesn't have a very big role in this movie up until he becomes the Thing. Then, obviously, his role is larger and more profound. But the two of them essentially develop this machine that can, what they think, teleports, but they're not quite sure where. Turns out it actually creates a wormhole to Earth Zero. From there, during a science fair when they're teenagers, they get picked up by this science organization led by Franklin Storm, and unfortunately I did not jot down the actor's name, but and I apologize about that. Nonetheless, he's also with his daughter, Kate Mara, who's adopted. You might see a little bit of a like, how are they related? But Kate Mara plays Sue Storm, and then his other child is Michael B. Jordan, who becomes Johnny Storm. So they definitely kept, you know, the Storms, Sue and Johnny, as siblings, but obviously with Michael B. Jordan, you know, being, you know, African American like he is, and historically a lot of pretty much every reincarnation that I've ever known, Johnny Storm was Caucasian. That led to a very, very large uproar in, you know, the movie community, the comic community. Everybody was kind of complaining about it. You know, the thing is, who cares? I mean, as long as you go into a movie with a good script, a good cast, you know, a good story, who cares who plays what and who is what race? It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, before... Oh, okay. So let me go back to the story. So after they get into the government organization, they get partnered with Victor Von Doom, who is played by Toby Kebbell. So he is brilliant. He is this genius, but he's also kind of a complete jerk. Long story short, they end up building a much, much larger version of the machine that Reed Richards had built earlier in the movie. so that way they can actually teleport 4 people, or transport maybe, 4 humans to this other planet. They find this energy source, they step on it, Victor touches it, everything goes crazy, and long story short, boom, the Fantastic Four are born. I think that actually, you know what, that's where I'm going to kind of stop in terms of the story, because after that it gets a little spoiler-esque, and like I say, I'm not a big fan of spoilers. So, as far as the story, you know, I thought it was pretty okay. I didn't have a problem with it. I think the cinematography was fine. The acting was good. There was a few kind of hokey moments. One of my big things that I really actually liked about it, I really enjoyed the introduction to the movie when Reed and Ben were young kids. I really liked that. I loved how, you know, the two of them were interacting, and you know, kind of, you could see their personalities coming out, which obviously translated into adulthood. It was really good. I really love how, kind of, especially earlier in the movie, Reed just has this incredible awkwardness to him. When Sue mentions that she's listening to Portishead, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have to listen to him." No, it's a them. Oh, I'll have to check them out. You know, he had no idea. Later, when Johnny goes to give him a fist bump, he's like, "Oh yeah." Oh, it was so awkward, but it was so funny. I also really like how, even though Victor was kind of a jerk and super standoffish throughout most of his on-screen time, they actually had started to develop a little bit of a camaraderie. Having a drink together, laughing together, and seemingly enjoying their time together. As far as the way Doom ended up looking, I'm very torn on it, because they really made Doom look a little bit more alien-like than the traditional Doctor Doom look. Pretty much every other character kind of still had that same general look that, or I'm sorry, every superhero character had that same general look of what they looked like in the comic. Human Torch, The Thing, Invisible Woman, and then obviously Mr. Fantastic. They all kind of looked very similar to the way they've always looked. But Doom, they really changed him quite a bit. They tried to maintain the big hood, kind of the same, almost like helmet kind of look to his face. But I don't know, there was just something about it, I didn't like it, and it just, I don't know. Also, I found it incredibly amusing when there was a line where Victor says, "There is no Victor, only Doom." And the first thing that popped in my head is, "There is no Dana, only Sue." First thing popped in my head. I giggled about it for a while. So, you know, before doing this review, I saw a lot of reviews online, several different movie critics, and just about every single one of them bashed this movie to paste. And I'll be completely honest with you, I thought it was pretty darn okay. You know, was it a shining glory for Marvel? Probably not. Was it time to reinvent the characters and retell the story from scratch? No, that never usually works out. Should they have maybe tried to continue the first 2 movies? Or I should, not the first 2, but the most recent 2, I think they should have tried to continue the first 2 movies. I think that would have made a lot more sense. But for whatever reason, they chose not to and said they wanted to do a complete reboot. Should you go get it? Maybe. I would not necessarily recommend buying it without having watched it first, because there is unfortunately a lot of people who hate it. I, however, did not hate it. I actually really enjoyed it. And will I be buying it? Yeah. Once it comes out on DVD, I think I will buy it. So until then, please let me know what you think of it. If you hated it, if you loved it, you know, just post a comment, leave a comment, share it around, let me know what you thought. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and on my blog at ifigottagetup.com. Talk to you soon.